Lab number 240. In this lab, we will create the JSONStore and integrate it with MobileFirst adapter to actually get sync of the orders that we have in our orders database on a Cloudant. And this means that any order that we will create in our app will be pushed to Cloudant database, and any order that is there should be pushed to mobile app JSONStore as the storage inside the mobile application. So we'll start by opening our development studio. In our case, it's Atom text editor, and modifying the controller's JS file. We won't be doing everything from scratch. We'll just open the browser and go to Getting Started Materials to find the article which actually explains the way how to work with JSONStore and how to get sync with the adapter. So it's located under the data section, and we are interested in an article called Using JSONStore in Hybrid Applications. So here we go. This is the explanation, the article that explains the basics. And we will start with initializing a collection by following the guidelines that is located under MobileFirst Adapter Integration section. So here you can see that we will need to implement some functions on the adapter side, so we'll need to modify adapter.js file. But for now, we will concentrate on the client side. Inside the application, our controller, we will need to initialize the MobileFirst adapter. And by that I mean that each time our JSONStore will do an init, it will use those kind of procedures in adapter to get the data from the Cloudant database and store inside the JSONStore. So let's just copy this and go back to our editor. Let's create a new function, something like init store. And basically inside this function I will need to pass copied fields. So the name of our adapter is, as you remember, Canteen adapter. Add procedure, let's call it something like add order. We don't need remove and replace. Our app won't have that functionality. And for load, let's call it something like get orders. Just like that. We'll have some key, we will determine it later on, and we will also need to define some search fields in order for this to work. What we know for now is that these people should be replaced with something like orders. So in case we successfully init the collection, let's have some kind of login, so we will know that this step passed. Collection init success, something like that. And the same, almost the same, if it will fail. And in case it will be successful, the next thing we need to do is we need to call the load data. So we will need to load data in our collection. So let's just copy these lines with the load example and go back to our editor and pass it here inside success of init collection. So we called our collection orders, so we need to do the same here. And then we should be able to load the documents right here, and let's do some kind of login. So in case we will load documents, let's type something like collection load success, and of course in case of failure we'll type collection load fail. So just like that, and basically our init store function will be called after init will be completed. So after we will get initial information from the adapter and from the procedures that are responsible for a menu, it will be a time to get the orders that were previously created. So right here, after scope apply, we will call a scope init store. That's all for now with controllers. Let's take a look on the server project, Canteen Post WL, and open the GS file of it. So right now we have the get menu, and I will just duplicate this 2 more times. So once one function will be called add order, as you remember. We named it here in the controller for adding an order, and the second one will be get orders. Get orders. So for that, for get orders, we will need to change the pass. So instead of canteen menu and then the ID, we will have canteen orders here. As you remember, we created 2 databases. And if we will specify something like all docs, it will mean that we will get all the documents inside this database. If we will additionally specify include docs equal to true, this will mean that we can actually get all the documents and include documents to that ones also. So we can specify this for future. And basically that's it. No other modifications needed in this get orders function. And let's go to add order function. So here we will change the URL. Instead of canteen menu, I will have the same canteen orders like this. We will need to change the methods. Instead of get, now we will actually post in the information, so it will be post. Our return content type will be the same JSON, and we will need to also pass some body. So it will look like this. Body, we will need to specify actually again content type. In our case, it will be application JSON. And the second thing, we need actually to specify the body. So we will get that from the input parameter. So add order should have an input parameter, let's call it order, where we actually will get the information from the application with existing order, and we will store it in a Cloudant database. So right here in the content, I will just specify this order as an input parameter, and everything that we will receive as an input will be passed to Cloudant as a content. Everything else remained the same. So let's open using the term package terminal in the bottom panel. Navigate to Canteen Post WL and try to perform our first MFP start to start the server. During the startup, it will actually perform the build of our adapter and should deploy it to our server, so we don't need to do a push after start. Start will do this automatically. So let's wait until it will finish. So we have our adapter built. Let's try to call it with mfp invoke. And you can see right now it still thinks that we have only get menu. So this is happening because we didn't change the XML file. So we need to change the second one, contain adapter XML, and together with get menu procedure, we need to declare here 2 more procedures that we just created. So add order and get orders, just like that. And now we can push again. So push completed. Let's try to invoke it once again. I'm interested in get orders. So right now it will communicate with database, and as you can see, there is nothing inside. So we got the reply is okay, but total number of rows equal to 0, so we don't have anything here. But we know that our result will be inside rows. So here in a controller, key will be rows, and inside we'll probably search it only for ID, and who knows how ID will look, so let's keep it string. So before we were able to get something from the Cloudant database, we need to put something there. So we will do it in a checkout order section right here when we have an alert with a total sum. So let's go back to our browser and check for adding example. So here we go. This is the way how to add information to our JSON store. So let's go back and pass this in a checkout order section. So as you can see, we need to again name the collection. It will be orders. Then we need to construct what we actually put in there, and then we just need to call add with this data and actually options that are empty for now. So our data, instead of these values, should look like this. We should have here an order that probably should have something like order number. So let's call it order number. Then we should have a cost probably, because it's most important, how much it costs, the total order. So let's call this something like total sum. And then we should have actually an items to specify what's inside this order, maybe for analytics, maybe for some other future purposes. So we will have here the order itself, scope order. So from these three things, we only have an order, and we need to get total sum and order number. So total sum actually calculated from this scope get sum function. So we'll create a variable. And it will be equal to the result of this scope get sum. For order number, we will use something interesting, let's say. Let's calculate the number of seconds. We have a thing called get time that calculates number of seconds passed from January 1st, 1970. This is a funny story, but this is the way how to get the unique number that each time will be increasing. So I will call it something like current dates, where I will get the new date, and afterwards from this new date in our order number we will actually get from current date get time. So this will be quite a huge number of milliseconds passed from that moment, and we will put it here in an order. We'll have cost, items, and so on. So now when the order is added to collection, we will need to log this. So let's have console log something like order added to collection, and then almost the same if it will fail to add. And in case order added, we actually need to push it. We actually need to push our new changes in JSONStore to our adapter, and from adapter to actually Cloudant database. So let's go back to our examples and copy text with a push example. So just like that, again, collection name needs to be changed to orders. Push, in case push will be successful, we can actually again log this order pushed to adapter, and in case it will fail, just the same order failed to push. And now in case of success here, when we have order push to adapter, we can actually put this line with alert to display it on screen that something happened. But instead of get sum like this, we will just display the variable total sum, where we already calculated the total amount. And afterwards, this alert will be closed. Let's actually call the clear order function, so it will clear all the order information here. And we will have a next order. So now we can actually go back in our terminal to Canteen POS project and do a preview using mfp preview in a browser to check what the result we have now. So as you can see, collection load was successful. Let's try to add some items in the order, fresh salads, toast, sandwich probably, and let's do a checkout. So as you can see, it says order push to adapter and the total order is $12. Let's take a look on our resources tab. In the local storage here we should see the JSONStore information because we don't have any encryption. Yeah, JSONStore orders, you can see that there are some values here. And actually data, we have an order number, we have a cost, we have items inside, category, everything, and even the image. Probably it's not the best practice to pass the image, but this is just an example POT, so it's okay for now. And let's take a look on the Cloudant database to make sure that order is there. So for that we will need to go to Bluemix, enter our user information, login and the password. By the way, make sure you have a proper region, because in case you did the same as I, the first region was different, and we created the Cloudant database instead of US South in United Kingdom region. So the container is inside one region and the service is inside another. There is no issues with that, just you need to know that. So I will move to United Kingdom region, and this is my Cloudant. So let's launch the database. Let's launch the console for it. Of course, it was working previously. And take a look in our databases. So yeah, as you can see, inside the Canteen orders, we have an order. Let's take a look on that. Yep, it's here. Order number, cost, items inside, so everything as expected. So we have their fresh salad, cheese toast, and sandwich. So what we will do next, we will try to go back and clean this JSONStore. So I will just remove those items with the delete button, and I will refresh the page so we will see what happened. And ideally the situation should be like that. When the collection load will be called, it should go back to adapter. Adapter will be called the Cloudant service, and we will get information from the Cloudant database and place it in the local JSONStore. So we should be able to see here the same values as was before. Let's try. Okay, let's try with coffee, sandwich, and that's it. So we still have an order here with information about it. and so on. I noticed that the checkout button actually doesn't call the clear order afterwards. We still have it, but let's remove the orders and just refresh the page to take a look if it's there or not. Yeah, as you can see, when we refresh the page, actually collection load initialize the creation of our orders, and inside the JSONStore orders we still have those orders, and now there are 2 orders. It's working as expected, and let's take a look on actually the checkout. So we'll go back and take a look how I'm calling it. It looks okay, but most probably scope apply required here also to clear the screen view. Other option will be to disable caching, but it's more complicated. So let's just use scope apply and take a preview again. So here we have, let's go with Pepsi and coffee. Checkout, okay, yeah, it's clear. So perfect, we actually did what we're supposed to do. We created the JSON store, we connected this JSON store with MobileFirst adapter, and that adapter with the Cloudant database, and we got sync between the orders, local JSON store, Cloudant database. So as you can see here, if we will refresh the page, we will see a lot of orders that was recently added by us, and each order is added as a separate document. So actually on this step, our lab number 240 is finished. Thank you.